During the course of your job, you may incur certain additional expenses that you need to fill in a form and get those paid back to you. So let's take a look at how that is going to work within Atrieve here. When I first log into Atrieve and I've got my blank page, if I've got it set up under quick links, I'm going to click home and I'm going to come right to my eForms list. That's going to be the quickest way to get there. So if this is something you do regularly, certainly you're going to want to click this little plus and add it to your quick links. But if you haven't been there yet, you want to click on My Info, then Documents and eForms, eForms, and then the My eForms list. That's going to get you to this page here. From here, I'm going to see two little menus here that I can open up. So let me get a little closer for you. The first one is employee forms, and that's got a bunch of different things that you can adjust in terms of your, say, supply location preferences or your home address or direct deposit. Even the annual declaration we do, well, annually, is going to be in there for you to fill in. But below that is the expense reimbursement menu. And when I click the little arrow for that, I actually have four forms there. There's mileage forms. If all I've done is some additional driving and I need to expense the driving, I can stick with just this form, whether it's the with budget code version or without. If I've incurred any other kinds of expenses because I had to purchase materials or rent a hotel room or whatever that might be, then I'm going to go with one of these expense forms. If I don't know the budget code, I can go with the first one, but if I think I might know a budget code or I want to look up a budget code, I'm going to go with the second option. So it just depends on your scenario. To show you both, I'll go with the second one here. The forms are identical, it's just whether or not there's the budget code section at the bottom or not. So the top of it, to start with here, it's going to pull in my current name for the test account that I happen to be using. It's going to pull in the position for this test account. And then it says school or department, choose a location. Well, when I click that, I've got a nice big long list, but thankfully at the top it says assigned location. So whatever your current building is, that should be the assigned location, and you can go ahead and click it. And if you don't see something there, or it's the wrong location, maybe you moved recently and you've been transferred, who knows what, go ahead and pick the location that is in fact your home school or your home board office building, wherever it is that you typically work out of. I'm going to go with the assign location here. And during these expenses, I'm going to put in the dates where I incurred them. So if I went, say, maybe for, I don't know, a couple days at a PD event, maybe it was a Monday, Tuesday thing. So I'm going to say from Monday to Tuesday. There we go. May 2nd and 3rd. And then I'm going to put in my address, my home address. There. Fake address, obviously. But that's going to be important because of any potential driving that I have to do. So, among my various expenses I may have incurred, we have a supplies and miscellaneous section. There's a meals section, so if I need to get some meals while I was gone somewhere and purchase things I would not have normally purchased. There's an alternate transportation option here, so if I needed to fly possibly, if I had to pay for parking somewhere, if I had to get a taxi to go somewhere, then I could put some of those expenses in right here. Accommodation possibly, if it was something where I needed to go to that PD event and stay overnight somewhere. Um, and then finally mileage, because we're presuming I had to actually drive to get to the thing that I am expensing, potentially. Now, if this was just something I had to buy for school supplies, then of course there's no driving involved there. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a date. Let's presume this is, again, a PD event that happened over a couple of days. So I needed to buy some supplies on the first day. Maybe it's an art PD thing, so art supplies. And it cost me, what, 10 bucks. And of course there'd be some tax on that. Let's see, what, $3. Making up numbers here. Meals. I had to have lunch that day, so lunch on the 2nd. Or maybe even lunch. Let's say lunch was provided. I got dinner. And I don't know, 25. And again, making up numbers. Alternate transportation, potentially. Did I have to? Let's say I drove myself, so there's no alternate transportation to fill in. I did need to have some accommodations on the 2nd because I stayed wherever it was that this happened to happen. There we go. One night. We'll call it motel. Oh. And I have no idea. Nice even number. That's expensive, but we'll throw it in there. And the mileage to get to this particular event, because of course I would have incurred mileage on the second as well. And my description would be home to wherever, event. Now if I have the option here to go from a school, I do have those same drop-down lists that I would get on a normal mileage form as well. If I was going from home or from a school location to one of our other buildings, those are all going to be in here. But if you're just going, say, from home to, I don't know, a Toronto hotel or something, that's not going to be an option here. So I can put in an actual address. Maybe the event happened at 10 Toronto Way. As a potential address. And of course, the home address I've already entered at the very top of the form, so that's already in there. I can use, say, Google Maps or something to figure out that I went about 100 kilometers. And yes, it was a round trip because I had to come home. All right, so nice easy numbers for this one. Obviously, you're going to have to work that out for whatever the distance is that you may have traveled. But total, you've got a number of expenses and things incurred over these 2 days. So I can come down, and at that point, I have this GL code section. So this is where you did or did not choose that budget option. If I said no budget, if I didn't have a clue what that was going to be, then this is not going to be there at all. It's just disappeared. So from there, what I'm going to do is go ahead and hit the little binoculars and see what code this might go under. So what am I going to use here? If this was an art related event, let's see if I can find anything that way. Nope. Okay. Fund, object, function. I don't believe PD is on here, but let's take a look. All right, so let's see here. Function, object, panel, program. You can look in all of these different drop-down lists to try and find the thing that you think might match what it is that you're looking for if you didn't already know your GL. There's different panels here potentially you could filter by, but I would pick one or possibly two of these and then come over and hit the search. Because if I try and filter by too many criteria and there's no budget code that matches that filtering, it's just not going to work out for you. So let's see here. Object. This is just a basic sort of PD type event. I'm sure I can find something PD related in here. Not, oh, professional development. Sure. Let's see what I've got. Search. And there is a batch of them. So that's good. This is page 1 of 23. So there's apparently a lot of different PD codes in here, depending on what it is we're doing. Let's see, what do they fall under? It looks like they've got a bunch of different numbers under cost center. So if I were to look at my cost center, maybe I'm an elementary teacher. Hit search. There we go. It's still got professional development in there. There we go. Now I'm down to an elementary teacher. Yeah, PD. So I'm going to go with this first one. It fills that in for me nicely. The total amount is right here, the 257, the way I've written it. So 257. And the HST I'm going to leave just as it is. I don't want to change this to anything else weird. I don't even want to use HST Ontario. That's more of something that our finance department would utilize. So regular HST, you can just leave that the way it is. You can include any comments about great event. I would go again. Ooh, I would go again. And at this point, I can either save this or submit it. So if I thought maybe I, still had some receipts in my bag and I need to find a couple more things to add to this particular form, I can go ahead and just say save. And it lets me know this is not submitted yet. So I say yes. From here, I can again see it's not submitted yet. That's fine. Well, over on the menu, when I do that My Info and I dig through and I get to the My eForms list, I'm going to use my quick links this time. I'm going to see under my unsubmitted forms and now have this expense reimbursement because I maybe dug through my stuff, I found the rest of the information I needed, I'm going to go put in some more. I can go ahead and click that again and it's going to open right back up for me. I come down and maybe I need to update, I don't know, some other supplies that I got this day. So maybe the second day I need to buy some more stuff, paper, who knows. And that also cost, whatever, another $10. So I'll just make it match, keep it simple. And as I come down, of course, net value will have changed, but I typed in this part for the budget code part. So that needs to now be updated to match. So I'm going to have to come in here, and if I have made changes, I need to fix this so that everything's still being calculated correctly on the budget. And with that done, I'm ready to either save if I still needed to go find stuff, or if I'm done, completely done, I can go ahead and say submit. From here, I'm going to say OK. Oh, attachments. Sorry, I didn't even look at that. Please attach any applicable receipts. So the idea here is that I will take my receipts, I will probably scan them or take photos of them. Easiest way is to slap them down on the photocopier and scan that PDF. And what will happen, I'm zoomed in a little bit so it's hard to see, but up at the very top, there we go, top right corner, there is this little paperclip with a red 0 at the moment. That I can click on and attach files to. Sometimes we get little pop-ups here saying that you need to do a quick little download, and that's fine. I've even seen times where the message pops up and says you need to do a download, but you don't see a download button. In that case, I'm going to recommend zooming in and out a little bit, which you can do with your little zoom tool right here up on the end of the address bar. I can zoom out a little bit, and that would maybe sometimes show me the button that I'm looking for. What I also do frequently, if I don't want to click up here and I'm on my mouse and keyboard, if you hold Control and then you roll the little roller on your mouse, it does the same thing. So that should help you find the little downloads button if you're getting stuck at this stage. But frequently you can just either accept or close whatever window might pop up until you see this and go ahead and click Upload. I can drag and drop files from here if I had something I just downloaded and I could drop it in there, or I'll click and I'll use this as my receipt basically. We'll pretend that this is a PDF that I scanned and I saved to my computer here, and I'm ready to say save, and that's going to get attached. So for actual expenses, not for mileage, but for expenses, I do need to include at least one attachment here so that I've included my receipts. I'm going to scroll down. If you have multiples, you can certainly do that. If you used your phone and took a bunch of photos of your different receipts, you could do it that way as well. You're just going to need to get those files uploaded to your computer. So whether you email them to yourself and download them, or you plug your device in, however you choose to get that stuff onto your machine, you'll need to do that in order to then attach that file. I'm going to click Submit now that I'm done, and it will let me do that. Submitting this form will immediately send it to the designated authorizers. So this is going to be my principal, my manager, my superintendent. It just depends on who you are and what budget codes and everything else you're using here to expense this. It will go to the correct person, and they will then hopefully approve the expenses you've submitted. Now, if I want to take a look at that, I'm going to go again to my eForms list, which even before I use the shortcut, I'll mention here that at the very bottom of this little summary, you have next form. That will also take me back to the My eForms list right away. Now I can see my expense form right here that I just put in. I can edit it if I realize that, oops, I did in fact miss something, so I can go back and fix that. Or if I just want to know who it is that's going to approve this or what stage it's at, I can click on Track. By clicking the Track option here, stretch that out, I can see who the authorizer is going to be and the name of that authorizer, which is my test principal for this test account right now. Once they have opened that and looked at it, I'm going to see something here under when processed. I'll get a date, and then I'll get the action taken. So that's where I'd be able to see, if I just close this for a second, go down to some of my previous ones, I can see things like status here, denied, canceled, completed, denied, a bunch of them in there. So I'll be able to see exactly what the status and decision was on this particular mileage form, or expense reimbursement form in this case. And so that is how I'm going to be able to create, complete, and submit any of the expense forms that I might need to do within Atrieve here anytime that I've incurred those additional expenses and I need to submit them to the department.